and welcome to another edition of Lab Rats. My name's Andy Walker.
I'm Sean Carruthers.
And this is your video cast that demystifies technology like laptops and computers and the internet. And today, we're going to demystify
eggs.
Well, yeah, I guess. Actually, we're gonna teach you all about BitTorrent, which is a file transfer technology, and it's a food demo. So, glasses on, Mr. Carruthers.
Yes, I think you're starting to toss eggs around.
Hey, it didn't break! It didn't break!
Didn't break. That's a first. I think we need to do some protection here on this thing. You know, this is like the second episode in the last little bit that we've needed to put protection on this set. Bad precedent, or is this good?
It ain't a good Lab Rats episode unless you're wearing, you know, waterproofing and eye coverage, I think.
This one came close.
It did? Okay. All right, well, let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to show you how BitTorrent technology works with eggs. That's after this.
This episode is brought to you by our friends at Hover, the easiest way to buy domain names and do more with them. Get 25% off today by visiting hover.com/labrats.
Now, you may think that BitTorrent technology is a bit of a dirty word around the internet, right?
It is dirty. BitTorrent. It's like swearing, especially if you're a member of one of the big music labels or movie studios.
And why is that? Why is it such a taboo term?
Well, BitTorrent is a way for you, the user at home, to download something very fast. Mm-hmm. And typically, it's illegal content in the public perception anyways. Not always the case, but we'll talk about that
a little bit later.
A little bit later
okay,
on,
good.
But yeah, this is the problem.
Okay, so if I wanted to get a file if I wanted to send you a file on the internet, there are a bunch of different ways to do that. BitTorrent's a highly efficient way, and we'll talk about that in a second. But the traditional way is you go what? You go...
Well, I mean, back in the day, you would have a file sitting there on a server somewhere, and I would go to your site and download it.
Right.
Then it went to peer-to-peer, which sort of took it away from the server. So you didn't have to be a server that would have the file. Like, for example, 2Cows. We have a whole file library of downloads. And we go to 2Cows and say, I want to download this file, and we get it from 2Cows.
Right.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Right.
What happened after that with something like Napster, it became peer-to-peer networking, where a bunch of different places around the world, different users would have these files, and I would look for the file, and I'd say, oh, you have that over there. I'll download it from you, instead of from a company that has this.
But the problem with that, of course...
The problem with that, there's a couple problems with that, and one of the big problems is that you have to be there, and I have to download the file from beginning to end, and, you know, it's not always as smooth a process. So
it kind of goes like this, right?
So I'm looking for file A right now. Who's got the file?
I do.
I do. Okay, I'll make a connection with you. I would like to download that from you.
Here you go.
Right.
Oh, this is phone's ringing.
Really slow. Well, I guess he dropped his connection, so I don't really have the whole file here.
This is fun. I love these demos. Anyway, so as you can see, what happens is that he gets a partial file. He doesn't get the whole file. It's not useful to him in the end because either I'm inattentive, or I don't have the bandwidth, or I'm just irresponsible.
Well, here's the thing. Is a typical peer-to-peer networking, if I'm downloading this file from you, it's a big file, like 700 megabytes or whatever, and you decide you're logging off for the day, it's just bedtime.
Bedtime, right.
Yeah, and just then I've got a partial file, and there's nothing I can do about it until you log in again.
Right.
No good. Do you want some paper towels?
Yes.
I think we got some over in the kitchenette. So.
Okay. All right, we'll get one of us guys to get one. Anyway, okay, so an inefficient way to do that,
yeah,
right?
It's not the best way to do it.
And I suspect then some genius out there in the world said, well, let's develop something called BitTorrent.
Yes, Bram Cohen.
Bram Cohen.
He decided, you know what, this typical way of dealing with the files is not... you know, it has the problems, the drawbacks that we talked about here. And there we go. We've got a way to clean. So he decided, okay, well, why don't we decentralize this? Because the data that's coming to you is all coming in little chunks. It's coming in bits anyways,
packets,
right? It's packets. So if, why download the entire thing one packet after the other? Why not sort of split this up and separate it up into a bunch of tiny little packets?
Right.
And then you can download the packets individually rather than having to download the entirety of the file.
Right. So, you know, in our demo here to demonstrate, you know, BitTorrent, we've got an egg. Nice, very simply eggs. an egg will represent a chunk of a file or a packet, pieces of a file.
In just the same way, you tried handing me the entire file with all the eggs included in it. Those are all bits.
Right.
Those are all included in one gigantic container.
Package. Yes. Okay, good.
So now we want to break those up.
Right. Okay, good. And we do this not just one-on-one. BitTorrent is designed to do it one-to-many.
One-to-many.
So let's demystify let's actually build how a transfer would occur in BitTorrent. First by, I guess, you as the requester of the file using a BitTorrent client or a program called BitTorrent, a client that uses the BitTorrent technology.
Yeah, there is one actually called BitTorrent.
There is one.
There's a few others like Azurius, Views, uTorrent.
Azurius, I think I've used that before.
So there we go. And we've,
okay, and I am what's called a tracker.
Right.
So in this scenario here, Sean's going to be the leecher or somebody who's requesting a file and doesn't have it. And I am the tracker, a server that kind of is the traffic cop to coordinate this. So who can give me my tracker sign? Here. Michael? Give me my tracker sign.
There we go.
And we're going to get Andrew to attach that to me.
Okay, so you are now known as the tracker.
So I am the tracker. So I'm out there on the internet, and I am a server dedicated to running the BitTorrent transfers for people.
So just for the sake of argument, let's call you the Pirate Pay.
The Pirate Pay?
Yes.
Okay. We'll demystify that later. And you are going to be the leecher.
I'm going to be a leecher. So now what I want to do is I want to find a file of some sort. So there's going to be these trackers that are out there, like the Pirate Pay, thank you, that keep track of what files are where.
Right.
All right? And it keeps track of who has each of the individual bits.
Right.
So that's why you're called a tracker. You track all of the information.
All this stuff. And I have egg on my foot.
You have egg on your foot.
But anyway, notice I do not have any eggs here. I do not have the file here.
I think it's best to keep the eggs away from you.
It is probably best at that point. And you have a tray there, which is where you're going to receive the file, your computer.
Yeah. This is my computer. I want to download file B now.
Right.
And so I'm going to say, hey, does file B exist? And rather than shouting it out to the whole world, hey, who's got file B, like we would in a normal peer-to-peer thing, like Napster, I'll now say to you, the tracker, hey, you got file B?
And I'm going to say, actually, I do. Well, I don't personally have it, but I have people out there that do have it. So I'm going to call in my friends, Andrew, who is a seeder.
Yep, with egg on his feet now.
And he has the whole file that I'm looking for. So Andrew, just show them put that down there. So as you can see, we've numbered the packets 1 through 12. These are 12 pieces that make up the file.
Yeah.
And Andrew has this on his computer.
So he's got the entirety of the file.
The whole thing.
But we've also got Michael here.
Okay, now Michael has obviously been transferring the file, but he hasn't got a complete file yet.
Okay, and we call him a leecher.
Leecher, right, because he doesn't have the full file yet.
So he has little bits and pieces.
Right. So if you have the full file and you're ready to distribute it, you'd be a seeder like Andrew. And Andrew could be anywhere. He could be in India, he could be in Montreal, he could be in Arkansas, wherever in the world, as long as you're connected to the internet.
Yep.
And Michael too. Michael is just sitting at home on his computer and has a partial file, and he's a leecher. You're a leecher too because you don't have the file at all.
Yes.
Right? As you can tell. By the way, guys, nice outfits.
Thank you very much. We've seen your food demos before.
Okay.
All right, so now I'm going to say, okay, now hook me up with this.
Right.
So now...
So I'm going to say to Andrew, okay, Andrew, Sean's requested file B, so I'd like you to transfer to him chunk 9 of that file.
Chunk 9.
Now notice that Andrew
I'm
now...
just going to copy this, my number 9. I'm going to copy it to this bit here.
Yeah. So you don't actually give the piece of the file away.
Of course not.
You make a duplicate and you
That would be
pass it on to
selfless
Sean.
of me. I'm not selfless.
Right, okay, so number 9. Very good. And you're going to
9.
hand it over to Sean. Now Sean's got item number 9.
I've got number 9, number 9,
number 9.
number 9.
Very good.
So
And I'm going to say
place.
now as the tracker, okay, Michael,
number
give
9
him
right
number 3.
Sure. So I've got my number 3, and I gotta create another number 3.
Okay, now this is very important because in the past with peer-to-peer, to get a file, you needed to have the entirety of the file at the other end. And now, even though Michael only has pieces of the file, I'm actually getting pieces from him.
Right.
And I could actually turn around. I noticed that he doesn't have number 9, so I could actually make a copy of number 9 for him and
You're
give
very
it to
kind
him.
and generous.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, so now even though I've only got 2 pieces now, I'm adding to his.
Now, what's really important here is to recognize, too, that the bandwidth, meaning the capacity of the connection to carry data, right, is not being used by one particular person. Everybody's sort of sharing little bits of their bandwidth all over the place. So it's a very highly efficient way of transferring information in a real sort of egalitarian kind of manner, meaning it's very equal and nobody actually gets stuck with a big bandwidth bill.
Yeah, so it, and theoretically, it's not going to be...
Keep giving it to him, guys.
No,
I'll take
continue
this.
sharing with you, Michael.
That's
and
right.
You can also give
Okay, Michael, give him number 5.
Yeah,
Just hurry up about it because he's really desperate for the file.
Yeah, I really want this file.
Right.
So
Bossy tracker.
I know I am, but
If you
okay.
can pass that on.
Do number now. Do number 12.
I'll do a 6 for
Okay.
myself because I passed it to you.
Okay. Now do number 10. Okay, but do it faster.
Here's
Right.
12, my friend.
There
Good
you
job.
thank you.
Now give it to him like this. Here.
Oh, that's messy.
No.
Yeah,
It's high-speed transfer
That's
here.
right.
it is pretty high.
So it's
great.
right.
What do you
So
have?
anyway, as you can see, right. So now we only have 2 guys coordinated here who are actually doing the transfers. But imagine
we got an
thousands
extra
of people
one.
around. Thousands of people. The tracker does not get yoke on him, by the way.
Oh,
Yeah.
drop bit.
Oh, that
Drop
we had
packet.
transmission
I'll
error.
just do the 7 properly.
Okay, great.
There we go.
So now we've got 3 people up here and 1 big bossy tracker.
Yes.
But technically, the tracker will keep track of thousands and thousands and thousands of users here.
Yeah. So you can
let
imagine
me
thousands of
give
people
you a
around the
4.
world using this technology,
he's giving me the
all swapping file bits back and forth, and ultimately we could all end up with all of the files at some point.
You give me the 8.
It's not going to happen that way, likely, because there's always going to be people logging out before they have the whole file.
Thank you very much.
That you'll have, and this is the interesting thing about this is because we have actual bits. Oh, now see, I've got an entire thing here. What happened to yours?
You guys have both.
Oh, we broke your original file.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
lost
so this is
track.
interesting. So now Michael has an entire copy of the file. He started with a partial, and he's become a seeder now. So you can see the entire file. And Sean, as well, is now
I have now a seeder as well.
seeder as well.
Okay, so here's the interesting bit is like we could all show up here with partial parts of the file, but as long as we all have the different parts that make up the entirety of it, we can still get the entirety of it. We can all become seeds, even though there weren't any seeds to begin with, as long as we all have the parts that make up the whole.
Very cool. Okay. Well, thank you, boys, for your help.
Our
No
pleasure.
problem.
May give this to you by P2P.
Thank you very much.
I'm just going to take mine with me if you don't mind.
There we go.
Sorry.
We knew that was going to happen sooner or later.
All right, so let's talk a bit about the etiquette around BitTorrent and maybe some of the issues. So first of all, let's address this thing about illegal.
Okay.
So the technology itself is not illegal, is it?
The technology itself is not illegal. The way a lot of people use it is illegal because they're downloading copyrighted content that they don't have the rights to download.
Right.
That's the problem. So there are legal uses for it. For example, a lot of podcasts out there actually make it available. So rather than saying, okay, here's the entirety of this episode of our podcast, download it from our server, which costs money. I mean, it costs money for anyone that's hosting files, right?
Yeah.
What they'll do instead is they'll say, okay, here's a seed of our file on BitTorrent. Please take this and distribute it amongst yourselves. So what that does is instead of every 100,000 downloads of this one file, that adds up. You're not going to be doing that with BitTorrent, right? Because it'll spread that around among the users. So maybe you'll have like a small fraction of that you're actually sending out yourself.
Right, right, okay.
So that's one way that people can do it. So podcasts like Hack5 have done that. We tried it a little bit. We never really kept going with that because there wasn't as huge a demand for it as we thought. There's also...
And bandwidth is cheap, I
Bandwidth
mean,
is
in
cheap.
the end, for a company like, Butterscotch.com to actually do the distribution, it's hundreds and thousands of dollars for distribution, which for a company that's making some income around advertising is worth it. Once upon a time, bandwidth is incredibly expensive, like tens of thousands of dollars. So while this is a great way to manage, large file distribution across many people, companies these days can afford their own bandwidth generally.
Yeah, but I mean, theoretically, smaller organizations, like for example, our friend Alex Lindsay had a company called Pixel Core, and they would often have huge applications or updates that would go out, huge source files, and they would BitTorrent them around rather than have one person host it all and send it all out, because that sort of kept the cost down.
Right, very good. All right, well, let's take a break, and when we come back, of course, we have the usual picture time and our contests. But I did want to urge you to go check out the show notes at butterscotch.com/labrats for a list of the clients that you can use for BitTorrent, and of course some of the legal destinations where you can get legal content using BitTorrent technology as well. So that's
some old public domain stuff that's out there.
Exactly. There you go. All right, and that's after this. This episode brought to you by our friends at Hover, the easiest way to buy domain names and do more with them. Get 25% off today by visiting hover.com/labrats. You know, egg is really good. It lubricates, it brings protein to surfaces and that sort of thing. So we're lucky to have eggs on the set.
Yes, all of the stuff in behind me is lucky to have eggs on the set. Our floor is. Andrew was.
Over there.
Yeah, the cabinet.
I know, can't resist. All right, let's move on. Oh no, you wanted to say one more thing about BitTorrent etiquette.
Yeah, BitTorrent etiquette. So the whole idea of this is, just as we talked about with peer-to-peer, the etiquette is leave the transfer running until the file download is complete, at least one file, right? So if you have like a series of 10 files, at least let the file finish before you log off. With BitTorrent, a lot of people, their initial reaction is to get what they want and log off. And that's it. So they basically take and then they never seed.
Yeah.
So they're perpetual leechers, and that's just considered bad form.
Right.
So the typical thing is you want a share ratio, and that's usually listed in your client, of 1, which means for every bit I take, I'm giving a bit back out to someone. Yeah. So you know, so that was starting to give bits back to Michael earlier. You want to keep doing that until you've given back as much as you've taken.
Right, right. And that helps everybody, obviously, because if everybody's egalitarian about it, then everybody gets what they need.
Yeah, and just remember, if you're sharing illegal torrents doing that, then you're being good to the community, but you're making yourself even more illegal by offering up more of this. Well, I think you were just as illegal at the beginning when you started, but you know, keep that in mind too with the etiquette. There
you go, Sean Carruthers' Manners of BitTorrent. All right, let's move on. We do have a segment ongoing right at the moment. We're going to have a look at now, which is we've asked you guys out there in LabRats land to send us an email with your favorite non-LabRats episode on butterscotch.com. And so Damar, who doesn't say where he's from, but Damar sent us a note and he said, besides LabRats, the other show I love to watch is Miss Download. He liked the episode about TrueCrypt that she did and Quick to Do Pro. So Miss Download, of course, is available at butterscotch.com/missdownload. And Damar wins himself one of these gorgeous Butterscotch t-shirts. So you can win one too if you send an email to
feedback@labrats.tv.
And let us know what your favorite non-LabRats episode is on butterscotch.com.
Yes.
So anyway, so let's take a look at Damar's pick for his favorite Butterscotch show.
Welcome on deck. I'm Matt Harris.
Hi, I'm Jay Goldman.
Welcome to the A-List.
Hi, welcome to Miss Download.
So I imagine I'm a spy, and I would imagine every spy would have a secret file on their computer that would encrypt sensitive documents. So in true spy Miss Download fashion, I have found TrueCrypt. This program allows you to encrypt documents of your choice and save them on your hard drive or external hard drive, or you can encrypt an entire USB device. But they can only be accessed by you.
Welcome on deck. I'm Matt Harris.
Hi, I'm Jay Goldman.
Welcome to the A-List. Hi, welcome to Miss Download.
So that was TrueCrypt from Miss Download, one of her episodes. Don't forget to go to butterscotch.com, check out Miss Download's episode on Damar's other favorite, which is Quick to Do Pro as well. He asked for an extra large Butterscotch t-shirt. We have them in XXL and as small as smalls. So don't forget also to mention which size shirt you want and send us your address so we can mail it to you, for goodness sakes.
Yes.
Okay, and now my favorite episode, well, not episode, my favorite part of the show is
pictures.
Picture time.
We've got pictures. We're still doing this, and if you send in your pictures, you can actually win one of these sticker books. Look, you can see inside you got all of these stickers from the Butterscotch shows. And again, don't send us the size that you want because they all come in this size, but send us your address so we can send this out to you.
Very good. Okay, so who do we have?
Well, first up, we have Stephen, who is sitting here with his cat, Zach. he looks like he's actually putting Zach out for the day. Just like, all right, you did something bad on the carpet, you're gone.
Reminds me of Fred Flintstone at the end of the Flintstones. He puts the cat up for the night.
There we go. There you go. Thank you so much, Stephen, for sending that along.
That's great.
And also, we've asked for people to send us websites that they've been working on. And this one right here is from Mick in Winnipeg. And he actually he says he was so inspired by us that he actually started his own company, not just a website. So this is his company that deals with multimedia products, so gadgets that will play movies and music.
Wow.
So there you go. Check this site out.
Do you know what the product is called?
It's DistribuCore is the company. So there's a number of different products that are there.
Check it out at distribucore.com.
Distribucore.com.
And you can send your website or your cat or your mom or your kids, at least a picture thereof, don't mail them directly to us, via...
Don't throw eggs before you take the pictures because that would be really sticky and messy at labrats.tv.
Or preferably...
feedback@labrats.tv. It's the same address we used before. It's kind of boring.
I know it is. Don't forget, of course, you get the sticker book. If you send in, actually, you can actually choose. We'll send you a sticker book or send you a T-shirt. If you send in picture time, just let us know. And keep those submissions coming for your favorite misdownload, or not misdownload, but butterscotch.com show.
Any of the other ones we got. It could be a tutorial, it could be a Mr. Mobile, could be a noob, could be an A-list, whatever. All right. Just as long as it's not Labrats.
And that's another edition of Lab Rats, eggy as it was. My name is Andy Walker.
I'm John Carruthers.
And we'll see you next time. Hey, where's the eggs? It's time to throw some more.
Are you ready? Try this at home.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Lab Rats. My name is Andy Walker.
We've already done this bit, Dingleberry.
Are we coming back? I thought we were going to do it again. Put your glasses back on then. Continuity, okay?
And now we have our second blooper.
You're welcome.
All right.
Blooperific.